Go.
Pete, when there's uncertainty whether like someone like Jaden Daniels is whether he plays or not, how does that change your preparation leading up to the game?
Well, we have to prepare for him playing, and the bet is probably that he will. They might not practice him until later in the week, but we're going to count on him going. But we've already introduced about Marcus playing, in place of him. We have a lot of background about Marcus and on the staff and all that, so we know what his capabilities are, and we think, and so we're playing for both guys, but we're primarily for Jaden.
I usually prepare for the starter and the backup just in case in most situations. Do you have to do three now because there's potentially Marcus starting and a third guy being the backup?
We're not doing that. No, we're basically counting on the two guys. Yeah.
What do you see from Geno Smith being so successful so far?
He has just blossomed. He's just blossomed. He had enough plays on film coming off of last year, like I probably said to you guys, that he caught my eye, like a potential guy that might really be a factor. And so I was really excited about him in the offseason, and he did everything right, and he's played well. He's done a nice job. He's been very active, been really consistent with his play. So he's done nothing but positive things.
Jeremy's return to Washington, just how have you felt about his play early in the season?
I love what Chin's doing. I mean, he gives us all kinds of flexibility. We do a lot of stuff with him. He's got a lot of game. He can really run, and that's to go along with being physical and all the rest. So, made a big play right in the first drive of the game. That got us off the field for a field goal. It was good stuff. But he. I'm concerned about guys going back, in a situation like this, that they get overhyped. It means more to them, and which it does. But he has to handle that really well. I'm sure he will.
Jackson, protocol, is he back out? Is he out now and ready to go? Or
we're waiting for his. He just had his evaluation done now, so we'll know by practice time, I think.
Without getting obviously the secret sauce away, how important is it to get that consistency in the running game and establish that, I should say?
Yeah, it is and it's particularly preparing yourself for the ends of games, so that when you get to the end of games and you're in 4-minute situations, that you can control the football and seal victories. That's a big part of it. We want to mix throughout. Chip has always been a guy that's run the ball a lot, and me too. And so we're see eye to eye on it. The numbers haven't been as good as we want so far in the first 2 games. I happen to look at an accounting of the ball carriers throughout the league in the first couple, in this past weekend. And there was a lot of guys that ran the ball 11, 12, 13 times, the lead runners. It surprised me that there was numbers like that. There were some guys, Colts, the guy ran 22, 23 times or something like that. But there was a lot of guys that aren't running the ball that much. And so I'm kind of surprised at that. I felt like we might be a little more out of line in that. So we'll see. But we want more of him. He ran very well when he had the ball, and so we just needed to get more snaps.
You've been with Geno for a while, obviously. When you're game playing for Washington, where's the fine line between telling him, we want you to keep on doing what you're doing and being explosive, but also kind of just giving, taking what the defense gives you?
We always talk that way. We always talk that way by taking what the defense gives you. But we also design plays to give him chances for his shots, which he knows when the call comes in. It's when things get off rhythm sometimes, that's when the quarterback really has to decide what's going on and always protect the football first. So we need to do a better job than that. And Geno knows that, and I know that, and we didn't get that done.
Jonah had a big night, but so did Kyle Blue Kelly, another Vegas native. How pleased have you been with his development so far?
Yeah, the homeboys are doing great. They're really coming out and flying. So I'm really proud for those guys in the first time, getting a start in front of their fans and all that. That's great. And so they're doing really well. Kyle Blue continues to do really good things, and so. I'm excited about his progress. I mean, these are only the first couple games he's ever started, so he's brand new out there, but he's handling it.
Coach Boyd is somebody that you know well, obviously. Do you enjoy those moments? And
yeah.
Is there something? I mean, I don't know. It'd be the deck of cards that you're playing with compared to them, and then you guys know each other. I mean, is there?
No, they're. I mean, we have a lot of years together, and we've been very close through the times when he began to, his career as a head coach and all of that. So it's a special opportunity. I love competing against people that I know, and the more I like them, the more I like to beat them. So we'll see how this goes, and we'll try to give them a good game.
On the back end of that, Bobby Wagner's another guy that you drafted, and you saw him develop and grow into what he is now. How cool is it going to be able to match up against him again, and how can you just talk about the match racing process?
Yeah, it's not the first time, because when we went to the Rams, we played him a little bit, but Wags has had such an extraordinary career. You know, he's a Hall of Fame guy. First shot that you would get, I'm sure. Thousands of tackles, and again, he's off to a great start. He's got over 20 tackles in the first 2 games already. He always averages about 10 tackles or more a game, and so he's doing it again. And we had a great relationship. We had a lot of fun together. We won a lot of games and did a lot of great stuff. I watched him kind of emerge as a leader. You know, when he was younger, he was very quiet and didn't do a lot of that. But he's grown into it. And he's a consummate leader now. And I know he had a lot to do with Danny getting the program rolling last year. And I know that he was right in the middle of all of that. So I mean, we talk over the off season, and we've communicated quite a bit, and we'll always. And so. To me that's a thrill to play against him. You know, we're going to try to block the heck out of him, but we're counting on he's going to be really good on this day, and we're going to have to be better.
Homecoming for Chan. You have a bunch of guys that grew up in the D.C. area that are going home. Like, through the years, have you seen how guys kind of perform and they have to do tickets and family and all that stuff, and maybe trying to overperform it?
No, thanks for bringing that up. So maybe they hear us talk about this because it is a concern. You know, it's being overhyped for situations because of exterior factors. You know, and that's something that we as a club and as individuals need to control. We need to recognize that we're feeling it. You know, it could be the extra phone calls, just like you're saying, for tickets or whatever, sideline passes that are in a guy's head, you know, and they're getting extra texts from all the buddies at home and all that kind of stuff. We need to quell that so it isn't a factor to take away from our focus. So I'm on that consistently, and I hope, and it is an issue.
It seems like he's been around the ball pretty much anytime he's been in there. What kind of versatility has he provided you guys when he is out there?
Yeah, he's such a fun player because he's so aggressive and he's such an attack-oriented guy. It's why that when we took him you know, we worked him around the line of scrimmage a lot, gave him a lot of chances to rush the passer and as well as make plays. He's doing really well. You know, he was just about took the whole year off last year, so to get back out here and be at full speed and be at this high of a tempo, he's working his way into a lot of playing time, and so he's a really exciting guy because he's so instinctive and he's so aggressive and he's so tough, and those are great factors, and that's why I've always loved the guy as a player.
Coach, the other night we saw the team recognize Hispanic Heritage Month. You know, you have a franchise great like Tom Flores. You obviously have a big Latino following with the Raiders. You know, you've been around the Raiders for a while with where you grew up. You know, what does the Hispanic following for the Raiders mean to you?
That's a beautiful question. The life and the spirit and the love that they bring to our club is obvious, and we want to represent them. And I think I know that in the LA area, for the years that the Raiders were there, they really connected with that home base there, and it felt like this was a really great crowd for us, and it felt like a lot of LA people might have shown up, to support us, and so. Very meaningful, very thoughtful, and love the juice that they bring, and we need to return it to them so they stay fired up.
Good. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon.
No.
I asked Pete, I figured I'd ask you the snap on the other day. It seemed like you guys were having trouble with it. Did that impact you at all?
No, I wouldn't say that. Obviously, we want the snaps to be correct, and we're working on getting that corrected. But no, I wouldn't say that impacted me.
You mentioned after the game learning from the film from Monday night and then building on that. Have you had a chance to do that?
Yeah, of course. It was tough to watch, honestly. A lot of things that I wish, we'd have done better. I would have done better personally. But like I said, man, you can never just flush that. You got to learn from it, and that's what I did, man. I watched it, man, over 10 times and just tried to figure out, what did I need to do to be better, which was a lot of things that were obvious. So being more accurate, taking what they give me, not being so aggressive. And then, we had chances at the end of the game, which I usually do well at, and we didn't get it done. So a lot to learn from and a lot that we will get better from.
How challenging is that to take what they're offering you instead of what you want to get, which is be aggressive?
Yeah, I think we might have, overdid it a little bit. We had a lot of explosives in week one, and obviously we wanted to carry that over. I always speak about us being explosive, but being efficient is the number one thing. And so I thought the efficiency wasn't there, and that would have led to some more explosives if we were more efficient. So take what they give me. It's that simple.
How do you ramp up and prepare? How much of a challenge is it to do on a shorter week and to correct some of those things?
Yeah, I think the shorter week actually helps you. The faster we can get to the game, the faster we get that bad taste out of our mouth. So, having a short week, we know there's a quick turnaround. The emphasis is on getting your body right and preparing, learning the new opponent, getting yourself together and getting ready to go out there to the East Coast and get it done.
He talked about. Oh, go ahead.
Those type of games are far and few between for you, and you usually have a tendency to rebound pretty quickly. What's the process that you go through, and the key basically to in baseball, it's don't take one bad at bat into another one to make two straight.
Right.
Bad at bats.
I would agree with that, but also just being honest with yourself. Being hard on yourself and understanding that's not the standard. It's never going to be the standard. So, really having to be honest with myself and say, hey, what happened? What led to me, not having the game that I intended to have? And then, like you said, man, not carrying it over. Once you watch it, you learn from it, you move past it, you get on to Washington, and get ready for this Sunday.
Pete talked about getting the running game going to help balance the offense. It's just 11 carries for Ashton on Monday. Do you think that could really help the offense going? Then even feeding him the ball out of the backfield, in the passing game too, could get that going.
Yeah, I mean, the more we can get touches to our backs, to Ashton, to Zamir, the better we're going to be as an offense. Those guys are playmakers. They do well in space. As you can see, Ashton's out there running guys over. He's bouncing off of tackles, and so is Zamir. And so, we have to remain balanced. We have to get those guys the ball in space, whether that's in the run game or the passing game. And that's something that we're working on. And, again, man, it's early. Don't want to overreact to anything. There's a long season ahead of us. But, yeah, we got to get the balance going.
What's the film showing about the Commanders?
Man, tough defense, really tough up front. They got some really good guys up front, a lot of first-rounders in that front seven, man, and Hall of Famer and Bobby Wagner, a guy who I've faced a number of years in practice and in games. So I know what he's going to bring. I think Frankie is a tremendous player. He's great in the blitz. He's a leader. He does all the right things. Marshawn Lattimore, we know what he's capable of, an all-pro corner, a man corner, lockdown corner. And then, I really like Mike Sanderstrom. I don't want to say his name wrong, but Mike, he does a lot of great things, has great ball skills, is an active player, plays nickel, plays on the outside, does a lot of great things, really active veteran safeties, another tough defense, another tough opponent, and, what more could we ask for? We're looking forward to it.
Is the film study, is that something that you enjoy, and is there a point of overdoing it, or how do you find that balance?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I don't think you can never have too much information or too much knowledge. So I enjoy studying film. I love the game. I love watching football. But more importantly, it's a way to get an edge. And so I try to gain that edge. Yeah, I try to gain that edge by studying film and just try to figure out my opponent. Film studies is critical.
How much does your experience in overcoming the things early in your career kind of help coming off a rough game and just?
Yeah, I think it helps, but I think, man, this is a new experience. It's the first time with the Raiders that I've experienced a loss. And so, it's time for me to figure out what that's like. And so, I think those experiences in the past will help, but there's always going to be new experiences, and there'll be more experiences here in the future that we'll have to learn from and overcome. So I really look forward to the challenges. That's something that I've known about myself. I embrace challenges, and I don't think this will be any different.
First two games, Jacoby Myers has kind of been a security blanket for you. What do you really believe just makes him so good, or do you believe he's an underrated receiver in the league? Why is he so easy to play around?
Yeah, I think I do believe he's underrated. I think Jacoby's I don't know if it's the fact that he's played quarterback in this past, but he understands the game really well. He understands spacing. He understands route concepts. He can recognize man and zone. He understands leverage and how to set guys up. And then, the first 2 weeks we've seen, he's tremendous after the catch. I really enjoy, like I said all along, I really enjoy having him as a teammate. He's a great human, but he's a special player, man. And we just got to continue to build. We got to continue to build that continuity so we can go out there and really showcase what we really can do.
Okay, guys. Thanks, Geno.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Can you help us in this one? You got a couple
After you had a second chance to kind of review things, what were some of the things you walked away from Monday night's game?
I think we definitely could have been a little more disciplined, starting with myself. Just little things going to proper communication on plays, going the right way, just little things that kind of messed up our momentum. So we didn't play our best. I mean, we really beat ourselves is what I feel like. And then, obviously, we got to just continue to get better in the run game, and that starts with me.
How challenging is it to have a short memory on that and also a short week to prepare to get, that kind of process out from what happened the last game and moving on?
Yeah, I think, we call it a 24-hour rule. That's something I live by in football. I mean, in that moment, after that game, kind of dwell on it a little bit, but, sun rises the next day, you move on to the next game and, prepare. That's the great thing about football, obviously you get to end the season and, it's a little different. But, right now we're early, so we got plenty of more opportunities to get better.
Pete said after the game, we're trying to bring Ashton along slowly and not go crazy early. But he's also said, and Geno has said, we gotta get the running game going. We gotta feed Ashton a little bit more. Do you like that? You're ready to take on a heavy load and going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you draft a guy like me to not give me carries and touches, and I'm ready for the responsibility, and like I said. It's going to start with me and, in the run game, and I got to continue to get better.
What's this experience like? You didn't experience this in college, not being able to be prolific, and you haven't had a lot of opportunities to early, but how's that been?
Yeah, I think it's just all learning, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a learning curve to the NFL for, every single rookie that comes in. I mean, I think it's really rare that a guy comes in and just flat out balling off the rip. So I'm not, feeling no type of way towards it. I just, like I said, I need to get better, and, the big time performances that, everybody might be expecting, I mean, those will come, but, it's just about consistency.
When you look at this Washington defense and obviously facing their D-line, talked about it being tough. You have a guy like Bobby Wagner out there. Where do you see this offense lining up challenge-wise against them?
I mean, we want to be able to go toe-to-toe with anybody, but, kind of like you said, this is a great defense. They're going to be physical and be tough. So, we just got to take on that challenge and, be ready for them. And, like you said, guys like Bobby Wagner, Frank Louvu, they're, great players. So, we're ready to step up.
And you mentioned the adjustment that every rookie has to make, right, coming into the league. What's been the biggest adjustment you've had to make so far?
I mean, I'd probably just say picking up on the playbook. I mean, all the plays, we got tons of, different, footworks and stuff like that, and just every, single detail, every play, and that's on me to, study those and take a next step at, memorizing everything and knowing that playbook like the back of my hand, and then, just game speed, but I'm getting more used to it.
Remember how old you were when you first knew a Bobby Wagner and knew he was a great player and watched him?
Yeah, I was probably in elementary school, middle school. I mean, dude's been playing for 14 years, so I mean, ain't much more I gotta say about him, man. He's been consistent all of his career.
That was your first Monday Night Football appearance. I'm wondering if there's any part of that was like, whoa, it's Monday Night Football, we're here. How exciting was that?
Super exciting. I mean, Raider Nation showed up, loud and proud, and, family was there. I mean, it was just, overall great experience.
Just talked about the fact you're good about trying to get more carries, that you want that workload more. How much is it when you're trying to get into a rhythm? Can you get into a rhythm in the passing game as well and have that feed into the running game? How do you kind of get yourself going?
Yeah, I think rhythm just comes from doing something over and over again and kind of flowing it, and whatever kind of touches it is, whether I'm catching the ball at the backfield or they're handing it off to me, the more frequent those come, throughout the game definitely helps.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.